It is Martial Powers Monday! We're going to continue this action. We've been building the Martial Powers system here for 45 weeks, I guess. We're going to continue that effort today. Give me a second here while I check my signal to make sure we're coming through cleanly. I am. Hopefully I didn't blow out your ears with me howling to the moon, but I'm just going to take a moment here to punch my Discord channel, just to shout out across the web that I got stuff going on, and then we'll dive into this here in a minute. If you don't know who I am, hey, my name is Theurgy. I build PDF supplements for 5e games that I publish on the DMsGuild. There is a link in the description down below to a slew of the books that I have already published there, mostly involving 5-color mana system for Magic the Gathering enthusiasts that are playing Ravnica, Strixhaven, Theros, or any of the plane shift options that are already on the DMsGuild. You can read any of those books. Just click on any, if you're on mobile, you can click on the eye icon, and it'll pull up a sample. And if you're on desktop, the view free preview underneath the title picture in the individual product descriptions will pull up a PDF there for you to take a look at, and these are all 100% free previews. You can read them cover to cover. If you think the ideas are cool, if you want to explore them more, or if you find yourself coming back to visit them again at some point, that would be a great indication that they have value for you, and perhaps making a purchase would help keep me going. All the artwork and there's like 100 some odd original illustrations across those 6 books. The Elemental Key book, for example, we have a playlist here on my channel called Elemental Key. You can see me building all the artwork for that, as well as once the product got finished. We did a page-by-page walkthrough, and we've been updating it since then. And we've got another update that's going to be due for us here before May, so that's going to be updated a little bit. But when I finish, during this process, we develop books. We then do layout, cover art, build out everything, page dressing, the PDF, and then we take the spaces that we leave open in the text, like you see with Elemental Key. We then drop it into Photoshop, and we just straight up just paint on the page to fill in those gaps with relevant, unique artwork per page pertaining to the subject matter. So Mondays like this, we do a stream exploring a component of the Martial Powers system that we've been developing. If you check in the link down below at my Patreon, there's a read-only document that we are currently looking at live. So if you dive in there with me, you'll see me updating the text as we go along today. So be welcome to tag along and subscribe, hit the bell. Be welcome to follow me on Twitter to find out when I go live in the future. And so we're going to do this for about an hour or so today, and then we'll be back this evening to do some more artwork. And I think we're doing Spelljammer tokens tonight. We might be doing I think we're doing a Spelljammer map tonight, actually. Maybe tokens, definitely a map. So anyway, stick around, kick back. Be welcome to drop comments in either in the comment section after the live stream, or if you are able to show up during the stream, hi. Welcome here, and be welcome to shout out down in the comment here on the chat. We'll get into this. So coming up in February, that's right now. We're in February. So last couple weeks we were building out random lists and the rules for converting martial powers into magic items or power gear, and how those mechanics work. You can check the last few sessions to see how that goes. That's me basically doing some text, as well as verbally walking through the mechanics with you about how those things work. So right now, today, we're going to continue creature samples, which is part of the DM's note. When you build a book that provides alternate mechanics, especially if they're going to be things that both creatures and characters can use, it really behooves you to provide a section for a DM to, how do I use this? How do I implement this thing? There's extensive rules about how characters can integrate these things as alternate options to spells to cast, or alternate to martial class features or archetypes to choose. But since it mirrors on both sides of the DM screen, a DM can implement powers by just simply adding them to creatures. So that's what we're going to spend a little bit of time today doing. Back at episode 30, we had taken just a preliminary look at this, an exploration by buffing out an ogre. That would be a boss fight ogre, CR2, that would be using various martial powers. So we've updated the scaling for martial powers since then, and what we're going to see here is, let's take this itinerary and kick it to the top of the page. So for folks that don't know, when a character is using martial powers, it's basically using a half-casting progression. And whether you're a fighter, monk, paladin, ranger, rogue, or if you're using infusions as an artificer, or if you're using invocations as a warlock, this is your progression. You have access to first rank powers at 1, second rank powers at 5, third rank powers 9, 13, and then like a ranger or paladin or artificer, fifth level or 5th rank is accessed at 17th level. And most of these powers use, well, a lot of the powers use a power die, that when you're, like, say, amping up a skill check, you'd roll your power die to see how much it improves. Or if you're using a strike power, you'd use power dice, roll those and add those to your damage, much like a smite. So the power die that characters use starts at a 6, becomes an 8 halfway through the progression, and then caps out with a D10. But when creatures are using powers, they are progressing. If their CR, anything up to a CR1 is going to use a D4. Up to CR 2 to 5 is a D6. 6 to 9 is a D8. 10 to 13 is a D12, and then anything of CR14 or above is a D12. And then on top of it, each rank that these creatures have determines how many dice they can throw at a time. So a first rank creature up to CR1 can roll, like if you're doing a martial strike on top of his normal attack roll, you'd be able to add a D4. Not very significant. But by the time you get up to a CR14, like a dragon or something, it would be able to throw up to additional 5d12 damage onto attacks that it does. And these things have limits on how often they can use these powers per round, which we're still a little loosey-goosey on. We're still in the playtest phase as a DM, figuring that out. But it looks like the way that we're sitting right now is the rank of the creature is the maximum rank of power that they can select. And the DM can just add these things ad hoc, though I think it's fun for us to build pre-built kits and add those in as samples as added value, which we could also use to create our own little Flea Mortals light build a foe options. If you don't want to spend the $30 for that specifically, you can spend 15 with us and get all these class features, as well as basically build out Flea Mortals as part of it. So added value. So you can see exploits here that first rank, second rank, third rank, fourth rank. There are no fifth rank powers. So creatures are technically going to be able to access anything we have to offer up to, as of 10th, CR10. But the amount of dice that they can throw continues to scale to 5 at 14th. So when we select options for creatures, we're going to start with what their rank is and work down. Like I think the next one that we can have fun with is a Skeletal Warrior, which is a first rank creature because it's a CR 1/4, which is up to 4 for CR1. So when we go through our selection here, we can look at exploits, strikes, sustained powers, reactions, and maneuvers of first rank, and just pick ones that we think are going to fit the theme that we're working with right now for a Skeletal Warrior. So let's start off with going to D&D Beyond and just look up what a Skeletal Warrior is, just to see what our base is here. So let's see. Oh, maybe it's called Skeleton Warrior. Come on, my dude. Starting to embarrass me. Skeleton. Maybe that'll... Fine. Whatever, my dude. There you go. Skeleton. So let's fix that first off. Any power up to first rank, rolling a d4. There, so let's see. Exploits. Can know any first rank know one power from all 5 disciplines up to first rank, rolling d4 power dice. This would be two powers up to second rank, rolling 2d6 power dice. So like over here, there's 5 disciplines, right? So looking up here, there's 5 disciplines of power, which are exploits that modify actions and dice rolls. They're like meta mechanics, kind of like meta magic options for sorcerers, except that they just modify like dice rolls, attacks, movements, and actions and bonus actions that a character is making, as well as reactions. And the maneuvers are probably the closest things to like point and click spell powers that either use actions or bonus actions. Honestly, maneuvers can be used with an action and a bonus action. So you could, if you're not making any attacks this round, you could commit, like you could build your character out to only use maneuvers, and you'd be able to use a maneuver as an action and then also use another maneuver as a bonus action. But for characters, these things burn your mana resource. So acting in that manner is gonna burn you through your mana quickly. So having it's a neat option for, like, say, a warlock or a monk that's regaining mana on a short rest, because you can afford to sizzle through all of it quickly. So you just take your nap and come back and sizzle some more. But depending on the kind of character you're going to play, you're going to want to have a mix of different types of powers, unless you're going after a very specific theme, which is something we can discuss in a future episode if people are interested. So, but there's exploits, there's maneuvers, reactions are what you expect them to be, and they are triggered by various circumstances. Strikes are channeled when you hit a weapon, just like smites are. They're on hit, so they're instant effects on hit. So if I hit you with a weapon, I can throw mana, and then I get extra dice of damage plus kicker effects, which we'll look at. And then there are sustained powers, which are concentration effects. And if you want to, one of the mechanics involved with martial powers is you can choose to lock a sustained power to remain on until you take a long rest, but doing so reduces the amount of mana you can use at a time. If you're a third rank character capable of using 3 mana up to third rank at a time, and you lock a sustained power or a combination of various sustained powers, say that eat 2 mana worth to maintain, you could just maintain concentration on them and potentially lose them if you get an offhand hit or a shitty saving throw. If you don't want to risk that, you can lock them, in which case they can be dispelled, but you can't lose concentration under normal circumstances. And so you could keep those going, but as a third rank power user, locking 2 of them would mean that you would be limited to only 1 mana expenditure. And there you go. If it costs more than 1 mana to use, you wouldn't be able to use it. So we do have there are ability you can learn. You can spend some of your learned powers to instead learn an ability more than once, to buy down the cost from, say, 3rd rank down to 2nd rank, so it costs less mana to use, so that you can use something like a banishing strike. Instead of burning 4 mana, maybe you burn only 3 mana with it, so that you'd be able to have a stash of powers that you're locking, while still being able to hit with your high power, with your high strength powers. So, but creatures don't have to worry about these things. A creature, I'm thinking, the way it's set right now is the rules are still pretty loosey-goosey for us. We're still locking down how we want these things to go, and currently, as it's expressed, you can know 2 powers from all 5. See, that sounds like a lot. Like a 2nd rank creature there's 5 disciplines. They could potentially know 2 powers from each. That's potentially 10 powers. That becomes this decision freeze pretty quickly. So I'm thinking, ogres can know 2 powers. Maybe it's, you know, can know 2 powers up to 2nd rank, rolling 2d6. So, like maybe if we're going to only have 2 powers out of this boss kit, like which 2 would we get rid of? We don't need deflection. Strikes are good, and grappling strike is really good. Ooh, yeah, that's... Jeez. There's so much good stuff, but I don't want to so you don't want to overwhelm decision freeze. So keeping the strike as a grappling strike. And grappling strike, if we go up and look at what a grappling strike is. Grappling strike. Oh, 1st rank. So, grappling strike. When you succeed with a melee attack using the strike power instead of adding power dice to your damage roll. When you succeed with a melee attack using the strike power. I'm going to change that. Your weapon damage increases by 1 power die per mana burned. And add the highest power die result to your grappling. Check. We'll do that for now. In addition, you can grapple a creature up to 2 sizes larger than you. Let's see. Adding the highest power die result to your grappling ability. Check. Period. With the weapon, adding the highest power die result to your grappling check. Okay, great. That's clean. So that's how grappling strike works, and I like that as a power for the ogre, because grabbing stuff with his weapon, that sounds like fun. Restraining hold is a maneuver, so let's look at restraining hold as a maneuver. Strikes, reactions, maneuvers. While grappling, you can deal 1 power die of weapon damage per mana burned to the grappling creature and force it to make a strength or dexterity saving throw. If the save fails, the creature is restrained until the grapple ends. The creature can make an additional save at the beginning of each of its turns. We may be switching all powers to the end of their turn. I think that's a commonality we'll want to have in the language. But restraining hold is pretty damn good. It's melee only. You can either use it as an attack or as a bonus action, which is fantastic because it still leaves up, assuming it still has a hand free. Restraining hold is, I'm gonna pull this like that. So restraining hold is first rank. I like the idea of them having bonus actions like extend, resilient. We can get rid of resilient. Extended attack. Roll 2d6, add the highest result. Add highest result to the attack roll and increase your reach with melee weapons by 5 feet. That should actually be first. Increase reach with melee by 5 feet. Feet, comma, roll 2d6, add highest result to the attack roll. Extended attack, I think that's a first rank power as well. So let's go down to exploits and look for extended strike. I'm pretty sure that is first rank. And I'm right, it is. Period. Period. Increase reach with weapon 5 feet. Yeah, okay, we'll leave that like that, like that. 1, 2, oof, that's 3. Whew, man. Oh, we can just do rank +1. Total powers known equals rank +1. That satisfies me for now. So rank +1. So that means it has 1, 2, 3. I'd love for them to have the bonus action, but I'm gonna have to let that go. Maneuvers. Am I satisfied with that? That's kind of a cool ogre. There you go. Bop, 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 bop. Cool. So skeleton can know 2 powers from 5 disciplines at the first rank. So let's figure out what we're going to have for our skeleton. Let's look at what a skeleton is normally capable of doing, and we'll take it from there. So skeleton has short sword attack and short bow attack. Senses. Challenge. Immune to poison. Vulnerable to bludgeoning. Obedient servants, habitual behaviors, undead nature. Okay, so let's see. Skeletal warrior. What's a fun thing to do? What is something that would be unexpected? We could. Let's give them a reaction. Maybe that. No, you know what? The nature of the skeleton. I don't think a reaction is a good idea. So I'm going to avoid reactions. They get 2. So they get 2 powers. So let's see what we want them to have. Exploits seems against the undead nature, considering they're unintelligent. Bonus attack is a really good one just to give them. Let's just do that. That's a maneuver. Bonus attack. Hey, Hernatico, it's good to see you, my man. Make an additional attack during its turn. And now we're going to pick. Well, we got a maneuver. We could grab another maneuver. We're going to avoid exploits because unintelligent undead. Just the idea of an exploit seems kind of antithetical to a mindless servant undead sort of thing. So I'm not going with exploits. Same thing with reactions. A mindless undead that's commanded to perform specific tasks doesn't feel like something that's going to be looking for opportunities to look for reactions. So I'm limiting it to strikes and maneuvers, possibly a sustained, but sustained requires will. And I'm thinking a skeleton wouldn't have will either. So this is actually a really short and simple case study of just basically maneuvers and strikes, and they're limited to first rank. So if you're reading along with me in the document down below, if you check in the description down below at the Patreon link, there is a read-only link to the document that we're looking at right now. So you can read along with me, and if you have any suggestions of your own, you're certainly welcome to pipe them in. If you're watching this after the live stream and this is interesting to you and you're checking out the document, be welcome to leave a comment down below how you would kit out skeletons for yourself, or if there's a different creature that you want to see me explore in the future. Leave a comment down below about what you guys want to look at, and I will spend time with that. I think it'd be fun that when we have this, either both as part of the actual document release, having a slew of creatures like we're building right now as samples, but then in the spirit of Flea Mortal, we could build out a small document to post as a sister piece to this publication, kits of different like battle bands. Like if I'm going to have a necromancer controlling a bunch of skeletons, we could kit out the skeletons to have like shield bearers and then like skeletal archers behind them with a necromancer boss in the back line. Like maybe it'd be a warlock that's using his invocations as powers instead of the normal invocation usage. He's just buying up a bunch of powers that he'd be able to use to, say, buff his skeletal troops in the process. So in the spirit of Flea Mortal, we could build a warlock necromancer battle band and use the martial power system to implement all that stuff. So, and once the in command of squads and armies come out, we could use both martial powers and the in command of squads mechanics to have that warlock necromancer controlling squads of troops of like tens or even hundreds of skeletons that would also be able to use martial powers to make their squad maneuvers be more dangerous as well, all using the same system. So, but for now, we're going to keep it simple before we go crazy long into synergizing all my ideas across the years into just one monster, just one monstrous campaign rebuild. Maybe we'll do that as a third-party CTRPG unto itself. Maybe we'll put pieces of it on my Patreon. Maybe we'll put pieces on it on DMsGuild. Just depends on how things fold. But that's the kind of flexibility we're trying to build into these systems that we're developing, that they can work together or separately as your table deems appropriate. So, what is the other martial power that I want to introduce for this skeleton? Bonus action is great because people aren't going to be expecting a second attack coming from a skeletal warrior. Skeletal warrior normally has a short sword attack, but now he has two. Don't want to give him any exploits. So let's see. Let's look at. And he only has access to first rank. He's not going to goad because that's I feel is too willful. Coordinated attack. That'd be appropriate for the warlock, but not the skeleton itself. Ooh, mobility ain't a bad idea. You can dash, disengage, or dodge. Like a dashing skeleton, that's scary as hell. You can move up to your speed through spaces occupied by creatures. Creatures move through this way take 1 power die of force damage for each mana burned. If you end your turn in a space occupied by another creature, you instead end your turn in the most recently unoccupied space that you move through during your turn without dealing any damage to the creature. Creatures can only take damage this way once during a turn. Restraining hold. Let's see. God, overrun. Honestly, when I'm looking at overrun, I'm almost thinking that'd be an exploit because it modifies your. It could modify your movement as it stands. It doesn't specifically say this. That you can move up to your speed. Oh, that's how I should change that. You can take the dash action. Moving up to your speed through spaces occupied by creatures. Creatures moved through this way take 1 power. There you go. You can take the dash action, moving up to your speed through spaces occupied. Since this is a maneuver, right? You can either use your action or bonus action. So if you take overrun, you can basically use that. You spend a point of mana. You can then take the dash action as a bonus action, even though you may not normally be able to do so. Like a fighter, for instance, that may be pretty useful. And any creature that you can run through during the turn is going to take 1 power die of damage. That's really good value. Like really, really good value. To save fails while grappling. No. Moving up to your speed through spaces occupied by creatures. Hold on real quick. I'm going to highlight this real fast. I want to go to exploits here real quick. Charlatan, Master Road, Natural Hunter, Inquisitive, Ground Fighting. Extended attack, commanding presence, charge. Okay, I want to reword charge. Let's see. I'm gonna go. I'm just seeing holes. Movement. Your doesn't provoke opportunity attacks. And the first creature you attack after moving your movement doesn't provoke opportunity attacks during your turn. When hold on, I'm having an action economy issue. I want to express. So you have movement, and then you have dashes. Dashes allow additional movements. So let's see. Your movement doesn't provoke opportunity attacks. Damn it. This is why we get paid the big bucks, because we're willing to suss through this stuff and think about it. It takes effort. Charge is let's see. I want to pause there for a hot second and look at the maneuver coordinated dash. You can empower a target ally within 30 feet of you to use their reaction to take the move action. Ah, that's what it is. When you take the move action, you can channel this power to prevent any opportunity to prevent triggering opportunity attacks. The first creature you attack after moving this way, the first attack you make after moving this way can Roll 1 power die per mana channel. Adding the highest roll to the attack. Rolling the first roll to the result of the attack. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to use the move action. While I'm moving, I'm going to trigger charge. While I'm charging, I don't trigger opportunity attacks. While charging, the first attack I make, after charging, the first attack I make, I can add any number of power dice equal to the amount of mana burned using the best roll to add to my attack roll. So that's cleaner language than we had before for the charge maneuver in general, but that brings us back to the maneuvers in the first place: coordinated attack, bonus attack, rally, swift overrun. So now you can take the dash action, moving up to your speed through spaces unoccupied. Let's see. Overrun now becomes an exploit. So let's do that. While moving, when you while moving, let's see. Trigger this exploit. Channel this exploit during as part of a move action. Channel this exploit as part of a move action. You can move through spaces occupied by creatures. This movement can trigger opportunity attacks unless 3 or more mana is burned power. Creatures move through this way, take 1 power dice of force damage for each mana burned. If you end your turn in a space occupied by another creature, you instead end your turn in the most recently unoccupied area that you move through during your turn without dealing any damage to the creature. Creatures can only take damage this way once during a turn. Once each turn. So if I have overrun and I use charge at the same time with it, they're both exploits, which means I can spend mana on both of them during the same move action, which means I can spend 1 mana to overrun and charge to not provoke attacks of opportunity. And as long as I don't make any attacks while I'm charging, the full movement allows me to avoid opportunity attacks, which I could also claim if I have the dodge action available to me, which like rogues would have for free. But on top of that, if I have an ally that has the maneuver or has, say, the Battle Master's maneuver coordinated dash, you can empower a target ally within 30 feet of you to use their reaction to take the move action. So coordinated dash now allows a character to trigger move action, which both the exploits of overrun, and charge allow you to modify. So you could get me to use my reaction to move. While I'm moving, I can charge and channel overrun to deal damage to all the creatures that I run through, and at the end of that, when you take the move action, you can channel this power to prevent triggering opportunity attacks. The first attack you make after moving this way, while moving. During this movement, there you go. So that couples it. So the coordinated dash wouldn't trigger the charge action because it's a reaction. So all you get to do is move, but you can trigger overrun during that movement. If this was during your turn where you'd have a move action, bonus action, and your attack action, you would have the action economy during your turn to charge and then attack to gain the benefit of the charge attack bonus roll. So in this instance, it might be better for you just to take the dodge action. If there is, let's see. I think that's a maneuver though, so I don't think you can stack that. Mobility. Dash, dodge, disengage. And that's a maneuver. So you can't stack mobility with overrun if you're doing so as a reaction presented by an ally off your turn. Okay, well hey, that's all good. I'm happy with this. But we were talking about a skeleton. So we're looking for all of that because we're trying to figure out how is a skeleton going to move. So that's fun. But to that point, I kind of like mobility. God, yeah, that's really good. Maneuvers, mobility. That's really good. You know what? No, I'm gonna take that back because I don't think it would dodge and I don't think it would disengage. So I think that's too generous. I like the idea of it being able to run in, like to have more movement than you expect, but I'm not happy with disengage or dodge as options. It just doesn't seem thematic for a mindless undead to do that. So instead, we've got bonus action already. I think I am going to give him charge. How about that for being messed up? When you take the move action. No, not quite right. Ambush, adept, field medic, ground fighting, inquisitive, master, overrun, natural hunter, practice charlatan, resilient, sage tools, swift tools, tactical assessment, intervene, veterinarian. None of those fit the bill. Bonus attack, coordinated attack, nope, nope, distract, nope, flatten, nope, goad, nope, mobility. I really want mobility to work. Restrain, hold. I just thematically, I don't think it's right. I could come back to it if I want, but I'd rather find something that's more thematically on point. I'm skipping reactions for design constraints. Oh man, what an interesting design challenge. Punish. As a reaction to an enemy you can see within range of your weapon attack misses an attack roll against you or an ally, you can make an attack, adding 1 power die to the attack roll. I dig that. Feint. Nope. Evasive footwork. As a reaction. Nope, it's not reactions. Mobility might be the right one to go. All right, I don't think it's 100% on theme, but it's the best option we have with the constraints that we've given ourselves, making an additional attack during its turn. And those are both maneuvers. That's funny. As a bonus action, you know what? Honestly, I'm pretty good with that. Because they're either going to make a bonus action to attack or a bonus action for mobility. I think that's actually a decent design constraint. So, as a bonus action, the skeleton can make an additional attack during its turn. I'm good with that. You know what? I didn't set a clock for myself like at all. So let's see what time it is. We've been live for, oh my God, we've been live for almost an hour already. It's 1:27. Holy Hannah. Well, you know what? That's, we only had an hour today to play. So, thank you for whoever booped me. Who booped me? Hi, Phil. Yeah. Credit card process for my bills. So, okay, well, that's what we're doing today. So when we come back next week, we're going to, let's see, boss fight Tyrannosaurus Rex. Rex can know 4 powers up to 3rd rank. Rolling 3d8 power dice. That Rex is going to get dangerous. So that's where we're going to leave that. Beholder. We're going to make a Beholder with powers. Like he needs more powers, right? Can know 5 powers up to 4th rank. Rolling 42 power dice. Period. All right, well, I mean, time constraints are time constraints. I hate to have to go so soon, but that's lunch. So we've had our hour. We're going to be back in 6 hours to do some work this evening. I want to say we're going to do Spelljammer assets. I think we're going to do we're going to work on the asteroid belt, the Theurgy asteroid belt challenge this evening. So. Every Monday we do this. We're going to work on the T-Rex, Beholder, and Ancient Red Dragon in the future. I'm thinking, well, by the time we're done with the Spelljammer and the Eberron adventures, we are going to have this Martial Powers book completed and off to the editors, so that when those books hit the guild, our plate will free up, and then we'll be able to focus specifically on this Martial Powers book, as well as whatever, like the guilds, and I think we're going to be focusing on the in command of squads and armies at that point as well. So stay in touch. Thanks for subscribing.